Anyhow, folks, your next comer, give it up for Steffi Wright.
So thanks for everyone for coming out tonight. There are so many familiar faces, and I love all you guys, and hopefully you'll feel the same for me once my 5 minutes are up. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Steffi Wright, and I just finished grad school. So grad school was really tough with ADHD because I was late for everything. And as a matter of fact, you're lucky I'm on time for the show. So with the maiden name like Beersdorf, you're probably wondering what it means. It means beer village. And it's ironic because my mother's maiden name is McGinnis, like the beer. So my ancestors were probably a bunch of alcoholics. But the truth is, I come from a long line of cantors, so same thing. Hi, Cantor Berman. So I'm half Jewish and I'm half Irish, both. And having a Jewish father and an Irish mother means that I'm different than other Jews because I have double the guilt. I'm also a really big fan of potato kugel. And it's like, one half of me wants to go out and get the ingredients to make it, but then the other half of me doesn't want to pay for it. So when people find out that I'm Jewish and Irish, sometimes they ask me, what part of me is Jewish? Well, it's my birthing hips. And I'm going to blame my Jewish genes for that. Because whatever it is the Jews were chosen for, I've got it. Mostly it's lactose intolerance and anxiety. So a lot of my friends who are half Jewish, including myself, have ended up being, depressed over our half Jewishness. Like many of them, I have yet to find a 12-step program that addresses this issue. So let's talk about anxiety. So during my undergrad, I was seeing a tutor for math, and we're going over my math equations to make sure they were right. So I was really anxious and nervous, and I just wanted to get it over with. And so sometimes, you'll be kind of antsy, and you'll start to rub your feet on things. So here I was thinking I was rubbing my foot on the table leg, but it turned out to be my tutor's leg. So we didn't get much done that day, but I had a date for Friday night. So both of my husbands weren't Jewish. The first one's last name was Cross, and this current one's last name was Wright, kind of like crossing the street or taking a right, but too bad us Jewish women don't take directions from men. So at one point, my doctor put me on Ambien, and with my first husband during my undergrad, all I remember is that I woke up that morning and my knickers were gone, but I had a plate with just some pie crust. And so my first husband told me I had walked out into the kitchen, this is 2 in the morning, and I went straight for the knife drawer, and then I cut myself a perfect slice of pie. And then I went back to bed. But when he came into the kitchen to see what I was doing, apparently I dropped my knickers in front of the silverware drawer. And so there's this country song that says, tequila makes my clothes fall off. Well, for me, it's a sedative. But from then on, I was afraid to go to sleep with Ambien. Well, that and my ex-husband. So with ADHD, sometimes you get obsessed with things. It's kind of like a light switch, sometimes you're just completely obsessed with something and the next thing you're not. Kind of like with what happened with my ex-husband. And when you have ADHD, sometimes you say things that you regret later on, like I do. So sometimes with ADHD, you mean to say one word, but something else comes out. So for instance, during my undergrad, I was dating this guy, and I had just gotten this beautiful 2000 Volvo, used car. But anyways, we're talking to his grandma, and she was asking us, what we've been up to, and I said that, we just took a ride in my Volvo. Well, I meant to say Volvo, but who even knew that was a thing? And so with ADHD, it makes it really hard to focus sometimes. And during grad school, there were many moments where I would avoid avoid working on my master's thesis, and instead I would binge on a pint of Ben & Jerry's. And with my knowledge of, nutrition, serving sizes and labels, based on my consumption, this made me a family of 4. But medication can be very helpful. Adderall got me through graduate school, as well as binging on donuts. But donuts and Adderall, they have lots of similarities. For one, they both can become addictive. They both make you feel better. But the only difference is that I choked on a Dunkin' Donut once, and I began to think to myself during the study session that an Adderall wouldn't have done this to me. And because of my ADHD, I'm always late, for things, and I usually wait till the last moment to do things. And so during my undergrad, I forgot I had a flower arranging final, and so I BS'd my way through the entire presentation and got a better grade than my friend Bridget, who had worked on it most of the semester. And it's been 4 years, and I still feel bad about that, but on the bright side is that skill will come in handy if I ever run for public office. So with ADHD, you start projects that you never finish. But with OCD, you don't stop until you're done. So I teach religious school here at Temple Sinai. I teach the 3rd and 4th graders, and after, rearranging my classroom one day, I told myself I'll just spend 30 minutes cleaning, our supplies closet, which hadn't been cleaned in I don't even know how long. So I told myself, 30 minutes to an hour, but 4 to maybe 5 hours had passed, and I just couldn't stop. And so I think the religious school is trying to send me a message, because not only did they send me a thank you card, but each time I go in, they put me in front of a different closet and ask me if I have a couple of minutes. So I went to a friend's birthday party a couple months ago. My friend Sean here, hey Sean. And so he's a counselor at Pitt, and so his birthday consisted of a bunch of counselors. And so the kitchen was thrashed, and I thought I'd be nice and kind of clean it up. Anyway, so his friend came over to me, looked at me, and he says, "Oh, you have OCD?" OCD? And I look over at the dishes, and it was just like a straight line of clean glasses. I didn't even notice I had done that. So basically the bottom line is that I go to a friend's birthday party, and not only did I have a great time, but I also came out with a free diagnosis. Anyways, that's all I have. Thanks, you guys.